Hi everybody, Cynthia here. I hope you guys are enjoying your week so far. I am here to share with you a TP style mini album tutorial, but we're going to be using cardstock and chipboard. So previously I had done a tutorial on a toilet paper or a paper towel roll mini album. It's an upcycled project and a lot of people don't like to reuse these things. So today I'm going to show you how to make one of these styled with cardstock. Okay, so the reason why I put this off is because my personal Cricut challenge for last week is a TP style mini album for fall. So once I complete this album and decorate it, it's going to be for my personal Cricut challenge as well. But I wanted to get a tutorial done for you guys because I had promised you a while back. Anyway, I'm going to do what I can today. Tomorrow I am having my oral surgery finally. Yay! So I'm going to be getting a denture plate in and things like that. So I may not be able to do a video for a few days. I don't know what my speech is going to be like. It's all new to me, so we'll see. Anyway, let's get started. It is this album I decided is going to be a little bit larger than a paper towel album. The paper towels or the TPs, they measure approximately a little over 4 by 2, maybe 2 3/4. Okay, so this album that we're making today is going to measure 4.5 by 3. I wanted it a little bit larger so that you can put in larger photos. The chipboard that I'm using is a medium weight chipboard. It's pretty nice and heavy. I purchased these in 12 by 12 sheets in this single sheet section at Michael's. So where they have all the single sheets of designer paper, this chipboard is in there. And I usually wait for it to go on sale when you can buy like 5 for $1. Or is it 10 for, yeah, 5 for $1 I think. Anyway, the size you're going to need is 4.5 by 3. You're going to need 2 of them. Okay? So the cardstock that I'm using is, I get this at Michael's as well. It's 65-pound cardstock, and I'm using the Craft from Recollections. Okay. Let me put my scoreboard aside. So you're going to need 2 sheets of cardstock that measure 4.5 by 3, and then you're going to need your Craft cardstock paper. I'm sorry, this is chipboard. Your Craft cardstock paper should measure 5.5 by 4.25. Now what you're going to do is get your tape out, whatever adhesive you like to use, and I'm going to run it all along the edges here. And then I run some in the middle, kind of like in a crisscross pattern, because I don't want any bubbles in the middle. And a lot of times you can get bubbles in the middle. So you can see I used a whole lot of tape on that. So I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to give you guys a tip. If you notice, my mat here is like a craft color, and so is my cardstock. So it gets hard to see the edges, especially if you are like me and need to wear readers. So what I do is I get myself a 12 by 12 sheet of light colored or white colored paper, and I put it on here. Okay, now I can really see the edges of my paper so that when I go to put this on, I can tell better where I'm going to lay it. It just helps, you know, you to visualize it. So anyway, you're going to put your chipboard in the middle and try and center it so it looks something like this. Now this is a nice heavy duty cardstock, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the edges over, and I'm going to open them back up. Okay, so you guys can see what I'm doing. I'm kind of bending it here, and I'm pushing down, and then I'm folding it over. I'm bending it here at the bottom. I'm pushing down, okay, and then I'm folding it over. So it should look like this on this side and then this on this side. Now, here's where I'm going to cut the corners off, and I usually just eyeball this. There are a lot of people that will take a ruler, okay, and they're going to go to the edge and they're going to draw a line and they're going to cut. I don't do that. I've never done that. I just kind of go in here and I eyeball clipping the corners off. Now when I clip my corners off, if you could see the edge of my chipboard and the cardstock there, I leave a little tiny bit of cardstock past the edge. I don't cut up right to that corner of the chipboard. Okay, I just leave a little bit there. Okay, so I eyeballed mine. It's not perfect. You can use a ruler to do it. Okay, I just don't do it that way. So that's up to you, personal preference. Once you get the hang of it, you'll probably be eyeballing it as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a strip of adhesive on my chipboard, a strip on the edge of my cardstock, and on the corners here. Okay, so I don't know if the camera will pick up the adhesive, but I have it on here, and on these corners. And now I'm going to push that around, run my bone folder over to make sure it's nice and smooth, and I'm going to go to the other side and do this side. These are our covers, and the reason why I'm using chipboard instead of just cardstock is because for the toilet paper mini album, the toilet paper rolls are heavy duty. They really are. It's not like using regular cardstock. So if I was for my front page to use regular cardstock, it's not going to hold up as well. So I want it to have a heavier paper on the outside cover for the front and the back, and then that way it was a little more heavy duty and it'll hold up with wear and tear a lot better than just using cardstock for my covers. So I have my adhesive on. I'm going to fold it over. Okay. Run my bone folder over, make sure it's nice and smooth, and we're going to do it to both of the sides here. So adhesive on the chipboard, and then on the tip. Fold it over. Smooth my bone folder there, and then I'm going to do the same on this side. Okay. Okay, so now we have our chipboard covered for the front, but we're going to need a piece for this side. So this piece here, I already have cut out. This piece measures 4 7/16 by 2 15/16. Now I showed you guys how to do the 16ths of an inch on my last tutorial with the box for the trick-or-treat cards. But I'll show you again really quick in case you're not sure, because some people aren't. Down here are my 1/8 of an inch. These are the bigger lines. Here, I'm going to move my camera. Up here, where there's all these little tiny lines between the inches, see all those lines? Those are your 1/16 of an inch. So 1/16 up here, down here, 1/8. Okay? I'll give you the measurements once again. It is 4 7/16 by 2 15/16. And we're going to put adhesive on this. I usually do all 4 sides, and then I do the middle. this I'm going to stand up for because I have to line this up. This is only going to give you a 1/16 of an inch border. So you really want to get this on there really good. Okay. Okay, so this is your cover. This is the inside. This is the outside. So the pattern paper that I'm using, I already have this measured out for my mats for my front cover here. Those measure 4 3/8 by 2 7/8. Okay. Yep. We're going to cover those front and back. And then once we have the cover done, okay, let's see, this is the outside. I want this on my outside piece. Okay, and this one's going to go on my inside piece. After we do this, we're going to create our pages. Our pages are going to measure the same exact size as the covers, okay? So you're going to do 2 chipboard covers like this. This is my back cover, and I've already done my front cover, and I've already punched my holes in, but we'll get to that, okay? Now we're going to create the pages. The pages it's great because you can get 2 pages from one sheet of the cardstock, which is really nice. So when you get out a sheet of cardstock, I use the 8.5 by 11. Let me put my pen away. And the pages are going to measure 6. You're going to need a piece that measures 6.5 by 4.5. Okay. So I'm going to put it in the long way where it lines up at the 8.5. We're going to take it to the 6.5. And we're going to trim that down. Okay. And then we're going to flip it and we're going to cut it to 4.5. So you get 1 and then 4.5 again. And you get 2. You can save these scraps. I'm sure you'll be able to do something with those. Okay. So now you can make 2 pages from these. And I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to get out your scoreboard. And you're going to line it up at the 6.5 inch. And this is for our pages now. We are going to score at the 3-inch mark. And again at the 6. Okay? You're going to do that for however many pages you want in your album. I have made 6 of them. Okay, so I'm going to fold on my score line. Whoa. Sorry guys, I bumped my camera. Let me put my white cardstock back out so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to fold on my score lines. And when you fold them, you want to make sure your pages line up. When you're folding, you don't want anything to overlap. So make sure they're nice and even before you score them. Now, when I create a page, I like my flap to be on the inside so that my pages are flush. Some people, when they glue it, they glue the flap on the outside. Either way is fine. You can do it however you like. Here's the difference. When I glue them on the inside, you don't see any of my edges. When you glue them on the outside, because I like to leave a little bit of a border, I leave about 1/8 of an inch border around my edges, you're gonna see that little flap there. Which is fine if you don't mind that, but I do. I don't like seeing that. I'd rather see that instead. So that's the difference between gluing the flap on the inside versus gluing the flap on the outside. Okay, so this is our page. I add adhesive to the inside of this flap, and I just use double-sided tape, a nice sturdy tape. Okay, put it on the edge. Gonna peel that off. Fold the flap down and then fold this down. Okay, we have already created our page. It's open on this side. This is going to be our spine. That's fine because we're going to be punching holes and it's going to keep it closed pretty much anyway. And now we have a pocket on this side that we can add in a photo mat, which we'll get to in a second. Okay, so you're going to create, I created 6 of these. You can create as many as you want. And I've already covered my pages. So I'm going to show you my page here. When you go to mat your pages, your mats are going to measure 4 3/8 across by 2 7/8 this way. Okay? So that's going to be the measurement for your photo mats, or for your mats for all your pages. So once you get that done, like I already have mine done, you're going to create inserts that go in your pocket. Okay? So to make the inserts, you're going to need a piece of cardstock that measures 4 by 2 3/4. I have my pull tab here, and the way I made my pull tab was I used my small scallop circle, and I just punched this out. You can use any kind of tab you want. I showed you guys, I have a tab video. If you don't have punches, you don't need punches. But here, I'll show you. I just cut it in half, and it's ready to go. Okay? I'm going to show you how I used it. But if you don't have a punch, don't get upset. You don't need one. Just cut yourself a little strip of cardstock, fold that in half, trim it up a little bit, okay, and you got yourself a pull tab. You can glue it on this side, glue it, add glue to that side, and boom, you got a pull tab, okay? So you don't necessarily need punches to do this, but I'm going to show you how I did mine. Okay, so we got the 4 by 2 3/4. We got our pull tab here, and then I have 2 sheets of designer paper that I'm going to cover this with, and they measure 3 7/8 by 2 5/8. Okay, before we cover this though, we're going to put our pull tabs on, and I'm just using some Scotch glue. I like this little, it's a 2-way applicator, and I really like this side for this reason. But you could use whatever you want. I don't get paid to tell you, you know, they don't sponsor me in any way. Okay, I need one for my last page, so I'm going to glue it on the bottom. And when I made my pages, what I did was I put a tab on the top, a tab in the middle, and a tab on the bottom. And I've already done the other pages. So the one I'm doing here, I needed a tab on the bottom. Okay, you're gonna run a bone folder over that to make sure you got all the excess glue out. There's your pull tab. Now we're gonna mat our page here. These are really simple to make. You can make them any size you want once you get the basics down. I'm going to mat this on the back, I think. And what's really nice is once you mat them, it hides the edge of this pull tab here. See what I mean? Okay, so we're gonna mat this side, and you're gonna do that for all of the pockets, side pockets that you have in your album. So if you have 6 pages, you're gonna wanna make 6 of these. Okay, so I have my front cover, it's already matted, and then I have all of my pages already matted, and my little pull tabs. Whoops, there they go. Okay, so you can see on the first 3, I have 1. Oh, I did these backwards, sorry guys, hold on. Okay, so this is my first page of the album. I have one of my pull tabs at the top. This will be my second page, so this one's in the middle. And then this is my third page, so that'll be at the bottom. Okay, so they'll look like that when they're sitting together. The next 3 pages, I'm going to go back and do the same thing. One of my pull tabs is at the top. One's in the middle, and this one that we just covered, that's going to be in the end. One's on the bottom. So then when all the pages are together, they'll look like that. Okay? So now what we have to do is learn how to put the holes in our album. I eyeball mine. I'm going to show you. I have a crocodile. You can use a hole punch or a hand hole punch, but I got to tell you, when you're punching through chipboard, it is really hard to do. That's why I invested in one of these. If you're going to work with a lot of chipboard and using holes, you may want to invest in one as well. So basically, these are my holes. I like to use 3. I pretty much go in 1/4 inch on both sides. And I make sure I stay away from my edge at least, I would say 1/8 of an inch, actually more. It's actually almost 1/4 of an inch in, and then I punch. So 1/4 inch, and punch. And then when I have it in here, I just kind of eyeball where my center is and go through there. And then once I have my first 3 holes done, I put my page in, line it up, and I use the top page as my guide for the bottom page. I put them in and punch, and I'll do that through the whole album. So this is my last page, and this is my chipboard piece. So I'll show you what I'm doing. I'm going to line it up. Now you can see my chipboard through those holes. Line them up. I'm going to use that top page as my guide to punch my holes into my chipboard. Okay, so my holes are done. That is my TP mini album. We're going to do ribbon binding, similar to the ribbon binding that I made here, but we also need an interactive front cover for this one, which I've already done. So this is the one that I've created. Okay, flips out that way, this way, this way. This is going to be our pocket. You flip this down this way, you have this page here, and then you have a flip out on this side. Okay, I'm going to show you guys how to make that. You are going to need a sheet of cardstock that measures 7.5 by 9 1/4. we're going to get out our scoreboard. You're going to line it up at the 7.5 inch mark, okay? And you're going to score at 3 3/4 of an inch. And then you're going to flip it. When you line it up at the 9 1/4, you're going to score at 2 3/4, 5 1/2, 8 1/4, and that is it. We are going to put our scoreboard aside. And we're going to fold up our score lines. Now when you fold them up, make sure that your ends meet before you run your bone folder over your score lines. Which I don't know where my other scoreboard or my other bone folder is. Okay. I'm going to fold these up. This is going to be my pocket for one of my pages. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to fold this down, and then I'm going to flip this back. Sorry guys, my camera fell. Okay, so it's an accordion fold. You should have a flap that goes that way, okay, away from you. When you fold it, you fold your pocket piece up, you fold towards you, and then away from you. Okay? I'm going to open it back up. And all you're going to do is you're going to cut this bottom piece off here on the right. We're not going to need that flap. This is going to be your pocket, and then these are going to be your flaps. So just cut on these score lines to meet up with the next score line. Same thing here. Okay? So now you have your pocket flap. This flap's going to go in. This flap's going to come down. This flap's going to go in. This flap's going to go up. And this flap's going to go in. Okay? I'm going to do that again. One more time. The pocket's going to go up. This flap is going to go in. This is going to come down. This flap's going to go in. This flap is going to go up. And this flap is going to go in. Okay, so basically when you open it up, you have two flaps on this side. When you close it and flip it over, you have one flap on this side. Alright, so in order to mat your pages, your mats are going to measure 3 5/8 by 2 5/8. And then your little pocket piece down here, this flap here, is going to measure 7/8 of an inch by 3 5/8. When you go to mat your pages, you want to mat this first, mat your pocket, and then adhere it down. I like to use a really nice sturdy double-sided tape for my pocket. So I'm going to put tape on both sides. It's sticking to me, guys. Let's see. There we go. Peel this off. Oh, I don't like how that one went on there, guys. I'm going to try that again. I did not like that. You can hear my cats playing downstairs. Okay. And we're going to push that up. And really run your bone folder over that. You want that to be nice and sturdy. And then you can make tags any size you want. Little, see if I have a little piece around here I could show you. Just make any kind of tag you want, and you have yourself a little pocket. Okay? Then this flap goes over. Okay, this is our cover. Flap is open, open, flap down. You got two areas for photos here, and then photos here. Okay? So this is your interactive front cover, and when you put it on this front cover piece, you want to make sure your pocket is on the bottom here. Not that you glue it upside down, but we're going to put it on, and we're going to kind of center it like that. Okay, so I'm going to use really good adhesive on the back, and I usually use score tape, but you guys can use whatever. There's red line tape, whatever you're comfortable using. But like I said, I like to use a really nice strong tape for this because it's an interactive page and people are going to be opening it up and pulling on it, and you really want to make sure it's nice and sturdy. So I'm just going to make sure I have a lot of this on there. On my bone folder over it, and I think I'm going to use my tweezers this time to peel backing off because it's just so much easier to do. And if you have any tape that runs along the edges, just fold it back. Okay, like I said, make sure your pocket is on the bottom when you go to seal this down. And I'm going to stand up for this part and really try and center that and press down. And now I'm going to open this up okay, there we go. There's our interactive front cover. We pretty much have our album made. All it needs to do is get the ribbon binding, which we're going to do, and then we're going to make, we're going to decorate the front cover, which I'm probably going to do off camera. And then also you want to make yourself some sort of belly band. You can do it with a ribbon. I made mine with a ribbon and one of those Tim Holtz closures. There's the rings on each side, and it holds the cover closed. But you can just do it with a ribbon and tie a bow. You can also make yourself a paper, you know, if you wanted to make like a little belly band on the side like this, you could do that. Measure your paper around, glue it, and then it'll pull off. Okay, so that's up to you how you want to do that. For my ribbon binding, I like to use tulle. So I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to stop the video here because I don't know how long this is running, and I will be back to share with you how I do my ribbon bindings, and then we're pretty much done. If you have any questions, let me know, and like I said, I'll be back for part 2 of the ribbon binding. Take care.